Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Builds Show. The title of today's episode is Accessory Dwelling Units, Helpful Tips to Navigate. So today I want to talk to you about this little thing called an ADU. An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. These units can be put on your property to add office space, extra living space for family members, a gym, or my favorite, a rental, extra income. So today I want to give you a few tips to help you down this road if this is something you're thinking about. So the first and most important thing to think about is your zoning and whether or not it actually allows for an additional space. There are two ways to find this out. You can call your local city or county you live in and ask some nice person on the phone. Or most cities and counties have what's called an interactive zoning map where you can put in your address and you can see what your zoning is and what it allows. In our city, most residential lots allow for an additional unit. And we have two options in my city to add units to an existing residential home. They're called ADUs or junior ADUs. Now, in our city, an ADU can either be attached or a detached dwelling. This can be a separate unit, a garage conversion, or even a basement conversion. Now, there's some rules around this, though. So an attached ADU can only be maximum 50% of the living area of the main residence, with a maximum of 1,200 square feet. If it's a detached ADU, they're generally maxed out at 800 square feet. Now, there are rules to accommodate if you want something larger, but you can only go 50% of the living area of the main residence, again, maxing out at 1,200 square feet. So, simple little example, if you want a detached ADU, you can go up to 800 square feet, no problem. If you wanted to go larger than that and you had a 1,500 square foot house, 50% of that main house is 750. So you couldn't go larger than 800. Your main house has to be bigger to accommodate something. And again, you're maxed out on any attached or detached ADU at 1,200 square feet. I hope that makes sense. So secondly, there's this little thing in our city called a junior ADU. Now, this is an attached dwelling. It must be attached to the existing house, and it cannot be larger than 500 square feet. And it has to be contained entirely within the existing main residence. So most residential lots in our city can have both an ADU and a junior ADU, which is super cool. That means that you can have 3 units on your residential lot. You can have your main house, you can have an attached junior ADU, and you can have a detached ADU. Crazy, right? Okay. Now that we got all that mumbo jumbo out of the way, next you have to determine your property size and the setbacks. Our rules in the city of Chico here allow for a 4-foot setback. They prefer a 5-foot, but you can go to 4 feet on the rear and the side. And then you need a minimum of 8 feet from the main house to the ADU. So wherever like the corner of your main house is, 8 feet away, that's where you can plop an ADU if it's detached. And these rules are super supportive of actually building ADUs. The rule used to be 30 feet away, and that just knocked out a lot of people from being able to build an accessory dwelling unit. And now only having to be 8 feet away really makes building one of these units doable for a lot of people that may have a smaller lot. The other item that I just want you to consider is your utilities. So our city allows you to hook up to existing water and sewer lines. This is a huge deal because it really saves money, not having to put in additional underground utilities. Now, the other item to discuss here is septic tanks. We have a lot of septic tanks in the area that I live. The city here will allow you to hook up to an existing septic tank if the tank and leach field is big enough to handle the additional load. Let's talk septic tanks for a second. So the size of the tank determines whether or not you can put in additional load on that tank. So a 1,500 gallon tank usually is for a 3-bedroom house, and the tank load is determined by bedrooms, not bathroom. So if you already have a 3-bedroom house and you're adding a 1-bedroom unit and you have a 1,500-gallon tank, your tank would be maxed out. Does that make sense? So you have 2 options. One, you can put in a larger tank, and you possibly have to extend your leach field to accommodate the bigger tank. Or if you have a larger lot, you could put in a smaller tank just for the unit. Now, you'd also have to make sure you have room for a leach field. So septics are a little trickier. If you're on sewer, so much easier. But if you have specific questions, I'm totally happy to help you answer them. So you need water, sanitation, either through sewer or septic. You need electricity, which means you have to do a PG&E application, and possibly gas, depending on your appliances. The other thing to consider is fire sprinklers and solar. In our city, if the main home does not have fire sprinklers, like say it was built in the 80s, then the ADU or junior ADU doesn't have a fire sprinkler requirement, which is really nice. That saves a lot of money. But solar is another thing that you have to consider. Solar is a requirement on every new build here in our city. So that is something that you would have to install for a detached ADU. So after ensuring that you're zoning and you allow for an ADU, the next step is determine your floor plan. This is the part that hangs most people up. They just don't know where to start. This is where the master plan comes into play. A master plan is a floor plan that has already been through building and planning check and is a set of plans ready to roll. This is my favorite way to expedite the building process. And it also saves a lot of money. In Chico, they have over 20 master planned ADUs ready to use. And they range in size from 496 square feet to 749 square feet. These plans are on their website and you can view in the ADU catalog. It saves so much time and money, you guys. Always consider a master plan, even if the floor plan isn't exactly what you want, because small modifications can be made without paying a fortune. And starting from scratch from an architect or engineer from the get-go is quadruple the price versus using a mastered plan. So always consider this and check out your local city or county to see if they offer anything like that. So after you decide on a plan, you need to get your lot surveyed. A surveyor comes and they find the property corners of your lot and they draw the dimensions for you, and you're going to need that. So if you're using a master plan, you want to contact the architect who drew the plans, because they're going to be able to put the submittal package for you together for the city. This process goes so much faster if you have the survey in hand and you have the master plan picked out. And then if you're going to have a contractor build this ADU for you, I would get them involved at this point. They can help answer questions that the architect and engineer may have and help take over parts that just may be going over your head. So the other thing to consider is your financials. You can get a construction loan for an ADU build. So any local lender can help you through that process, and just make sure you're considering the financial part as part of your plan. Now, once you have your plans ready for submittal, you can either submit them as an owner builder, or you can have a contractor submit the plans for you. Now, there will be permit fees and school fees that need to be paid at this stage. So make sure you bring your checkbook when you're going to submit plans. Then once you get the permit, you're ready to start building. So I just love ADUs. I think that they're a phenomenal way to just accommodate the housing crisis, to create more space for your family. And if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to help answer them. If you just head to my Instagram at shebuilds.homes, I have a little link to one-on-one free consultations, and I can help you get on the right track if you have any more questions about how to navigate building an ADU. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something today. Thanks for joining me today on the She Builds Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Builds swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.